ball starts to bounce around, I feel like I'm about to shit myself. Seriously though. But thanks for having me tonight, Jeff. Thanks for, thanks for coming. This piece is pretty short. I guess it's kind of one of those like kill your idols things, something like that. So yeah, it's called A Letter to George. Dear George, I assume that's what people call you. Sometimes I get these letters that are addressed to me and they say, Dear Richard. And I know automatically that the person writing the letter has no idea who I am because everybody calls me Ethan. Anyway, I'm digressing. Sorry, Mr. Saunders. I saw your new book on the bookshelf at the local bookstore and I was like, whoa, 26 bucks? Man, I really need to buy some groceries with that money. I also looked on Amazon and man, it was a lot cheaper. 15 bucks? I could sort of afford that, but then I got to thinking, if I buy this book on Amazon, George is not going to see a penny of this. So, again, I looked around on the wonderful World Wide Web, and after getting distracted by Facebook for nearly a full hour, I found it again at Random House for 26 bucks. Man, I was bummed. I was totally going to have to wait until it came out on paperback, or probably even until it was on the shelves at my local used bookstore, in which case I would have to stand guard in the fiction section if I was ever going to feast my eyes on any of that escape from spider-headery goodness. I was just about to go pitch my tent in the fiction section of Shakespeare & Company when my friend Charlie, he's always trying to sell me something, usually pot, knocks on my door wearing one of those long beige trench coat type deals, and lo and behold, he pulls out one copy of your new book. The copy of the book, well, it doesn't look exactly like one of those copies you see in the store with the black and white covers and the WordPress letters. No, this is 272 photocopied pages that have been bound together with one of those industrial strength staples. Now this is clandestine print, Charlie says. Charlie, where did you get this? I said, I borrowed Aunt Lander's copy. It took me half a day at Kinko's and 75 bucks, but I've got 6 dozen copies sitting in my closet back home. So how many have you sold? I ask. 1. And I can almost hear the gears ticking around in Charlie's head. I'll give you one for 16 bucks, he says. I tell him about Amazon and gradually he begins to reduce his price until he's dipping below $1. Eventually, Charlie decides to help himself to the 6-pack of St. Pauli and that my dad left last time he visited. I didn't save him those, hoping that I could invite Cindy up to the apartment. It's common courtesy to offer your guests a drink when they come over to your house. Of course, if I had known that Charlie was coming over, I would have hidden him. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened, and I, of course, am always too much of a limp dick to say anything. But an hour and a half later, after polishing off my last St. Pauli girl, Charlie staggers out of the apartment, and there it is, sitting on my coffee table, a brand new copy of the 10th of December. Now, I did think about you. I did think about it before I picked it up. It did sit on my coffee table for nearly a week, and you gotta believe me, George, I did try to wait for the paperback to hit the shelves in my new used bookstore. But after nearly a week without work and a failed attempt at a first kiss with Cindy, I picked up Charlie's staple-bound copy of your book. I'm sorry, George. I wish I could say I put it down after the first story or even the second, but when you're unemployed and you don't have a girlfriend, one of the few things you have to confide in are your books. I guess I didn't technically read it from cover to cover, but I read it in 2 sittings. I'm sorry, George. Or, I guess what I really mean to say is, I know you don't personally decide on the price of $26. There's probably those boneheads at Random House. They probably haven't had to eat leftover pizza crust for breakfast in ages. You, on the other hand, well, I saw you read at Moe's, and you were looking kind of rough, buddy. You should really shave that beard off and get a haircut. I almost mistook you for a guy that hangs out on the corner of Jones and Eddy. If you have a Goodwill or a Salvation Army in Syracuse, you might want to consider getting a new tweed jacket, or at least some elbow patches. In this letter, I've enclosed a check for $26. I realize that probably doesn't include shipping and handling, And if I don't receive a copy of your book, I'll completely understand. But this is the best I can do. I'm sorry though, George. I really didn't mean to steal your book, honest. And I realize that by writing this letter I'm incriminating myself. But I hope that you'll be able to find it in your heart to forgive me. And hopefully not sue me. Please do deposit this check as soon as possible, though. If you wait too long, I fear that I'll have gone down to the Safeway and purchased a loaf of bread or a box of Cheez-Its, therefore rendering my bank account $2.69 short of the amount that this check is made out for. And lastly, if you've gotten this far, thank you for taking the time to read my letter. I realize that you're probably busy with writerly type stuff. Sincerely yours, Richard Ethan Weiner. Thank you.